MVL, who's, we've said it, fighting for his tournament career.
Absolutely, and he seems to be succeeding in the fight to stay in the tour. Yeah, Ding is dejected and enjoy watching this.
He won an exchange, did MVL. He just played queen takes a6, bishop e2.
Rook f5.
I noticed that queen takes c4 is even on tap.
Well,
rook f5 to stop
allowing the
queen
knight
g4.
f2 check would be maybe unnecessary.
Good grief. Good morning, St. Louis. Knight f2 check.
Yeah, you can play rook g6, but then after king h2, your kind of attacking moves have somewhat run out. You can play bishop g4 in this position, I suspect, but among other things, I can go rook g5 simply, or rook af1. Yeah, I was about to suggest rook af1 actually. Yeah,
there is
a... is unstoppable.
Exactly.
Because you are now also losing on the other side of the board. You can include d6, d5 at any point, but I just play queen a8. I mean, now f7 is hanging, but if we ignore it for a second and just go queen a8 here.
Yeah.
The queen can no longer be chased. It actually is supporting the center via exactly that diagonal. If you include bishop f5, rook f5, h5 will start hanging. And once again, coming back to our original point, the a pawn is about to queen. So
and we did double against the f7 pawn amongst all of this as well. We do see a very dejected world champion, which is really sad because we have seen Ding Liren come to St. Louis, tie for first with Magnus, and absolutely
beat him on tie breaks.
Yeah, the first tie breaks in about 10 years that Magnus did not win. Magnus had a lot of tie breaks in those 10 years, too, including when you think about the World Cup as well. But Ding Liren definitely...
6 draws, I want to say, in this tournament, and some of those were from very, very promising positions.
Favorable,
where
absolutely.
Frankly, it felt like he wasn't even giving himself a proper chance of winning those games, because he would often just wrap things up the moment he kind of stopped being very much in love with the position and just thinking, okay, I'm doing well here. Yeah, that looks like someone who is maybe waiting for MVL to return to the board, honestly.
Yeah.
Although no, I thought maybe MVL was sort of in the direction of him looking, but...
I'm still trying to remember, it was the exchange Slav type of position where his opponent had one piece on b4 and Ding shut down the game.
Against Norbek.
Yeah, and we were sitting there saying, well, you play f3, you trade on d3, and he sort of said, I was afraid I was worse because of knight a5.
There was 2 of those. There was that one where he was clearly like running 0 risk, and there was also the endgame against Fabi, where he pushed for about 3 moves in that position where Fabi had every single piece was extremely passive. There were structural weaknesses everywhere. And you cannot imagine a scenario where white can be worse there. And he played it for about 5 moves and then just traded one final active piece and offered a draw.
Forced repetition. We do have a move by Ding Liren, and that was...
Rook 6, king h2 as expected.
Yeah. And
I guess the only way to create at least some havoc is to go d5, queen a8, d4, which introduces the idea of some passers for black as well, but there has to be about 10 different ways of dealing with this. Yeah, d5 played. Yeah, I think it really is the only way to even ask a question here. He's doing the right thing. It's just that it's too late.
Again, this knight on d3 is pretty frightening. Queen d5 in order to make...
Or rook g5. Maybe the cleanest here is actually to play rook g5 and start trading the active pieces.
Rook g5.
Yep. And this is what MVL seems to be reaching for. Might be the final move of the game as well, because if you have to play d takes e4, you're just...
And if I get to play d takes e3 and try to make a queen?
No, I mean rook g5 instead of queen a8.
Oh, pardon me. Apologies.
This, I think, actually,
d5,
this actually
g5.
ends the game, I think. Because we're also going to be taking on c4 if you move the pawn from d5. Now that we played king h2, we're no longer worried about knight f2 checks. MVL,
thank you for rescuing me from myself.
MVL triple checking, but I think he knows. And I think rook g5 actually does just force an immediate resignation. There's just no way to continue from there.
That's an incredibly powerful move. I agree. I totally missed it.
He just played rook g5?
Yeah, this is, I think, the end.
What do you think MVL would be the happiest about? Qualifying for Manchester City, defeating world champion or breaking his drawing streak?
I think the relief the tournament is over and he's managed to accomplish everything that you just said. I mean, the tension in these events. Oftentimes, when I played in such events, the tension afterwards was like I waited 2 weeks to recover.
Congrats to MVL.
Wow, what a relief! Our congratulations, MVL, tour player for 2025. Write his name.
And that, I think, nails it down for him, because Wesley is probably going to save his game, but he has currently